Hello and welcome back to KOH CHANG. So the last episode saw us arriving at Kai Bae and we checked into the Duckling Resort, which is 4 minutes walk from the sea, which turned out to be our base for 5 days. It was only supposed to be 2. So this episode will show you around Kai Bae, what there is here. So we'll be looking at Kai Bae Beach, Lonely Beach, Klong Prao Beach, as well as a Khlog Phlu Waterfall. And if you haven't been down to this part before, almost on the Cambodian border, the island is as big as Phuket, but it's not as heavily infrastructured. There's not as many people on here either. And what most people complain about Phuket, you won't see them complaining that here. So I'll give you a lot of first-hand knowledge on visiting KOH CHANG. Rock pool just runs out of the sea. I've got a bridge over here across the resort, and the bouncy castle. If there's any kids here, that'll be inflated, but I've not seen any kids yet. And you walk across the bridge down to there to get to the beach. And then the shop mall came out onto the road, stroke highway, which is the beach road that goes round almost the whole of KOH CHANG, more the U shape of the top end of KOH CHANG, where it gets its name from, just like a herd of green elephants that come down into the sea, and there's no way around that part. And exploring Kai Bae Beach, I went to the far end, where it's closest to the first of the islands offshore, to hire a kayak. The first day down, we went along to Kai Bae, down to the beach, which was as nice as what we remember, and quite a few people there. We walked down to the southern part, as the beach ends on a peninsula, and that's called Porn's Place, P-O-R-N-S. And it's a Thai resort with Thai cabins on the beach, very cheap but no aircon. So the end of the bay, Kai Bae Beach, and this is where the Porn Resort is. And I think it's been here for a lot of years, longer than what the globalised ones along there have. And that's it. A nice calm area of the beach. We'll swing round to the better camera on the phone. So see, it's a sand base, concrete pillars supporting them. And huts are decent size, they look like 5 metre by 4 metre. I see there is just a fan, not aircon, but it is a lot cooler in here. We have those are mango trees. They've got the green fruits on them. Palm trees for shade. Got a nice breeze that's coming off all the time. So yeah, you might be able to get away with a fan because we always like aircon. But sometimes lately we've been switching the aircon off. It's getting too cold. So I did a kayaking by myself. His wife had had enough of it by then. And it's only about half an hour to get to the first island. Maybe it's an hour and a half, 2 hours, depending on which way the waves are going to get to the farthest island. So on paddling out to the islands, make sure you have enough provisions. Liquids, drink, a towel if you're going to sunbathe, and sun cream. I always have a waterproof bag, put everything in, including the camera gear, and put inside my rucksack. And I've been here in the winter and the spring. I've never noticed any big waves. But it's best to be safe and sure. A 10 baht waterproof bag is better than losing the camera gear. But please take your rubbish back with you. Don't leave it on the island. If you see any rubbish on the island and you've got space in your bag, bring that back as well. Dense coconut trees. think it's only about a kilometre wide, the island. There's a bit more rocky point up that end, the sandy bit nearest the coast. So this is the point where I've left from, and you can't see that it goes around to be a bit bent, so there's other properties along here, resorts along here, and the start of Kai Bae Beach is here. It runs along. You can see how the beach can be turquoise and green, and light green here because obviously on the sand and shallower. Even if the wave's been a bit choppy, it's still nice. Over, but it was choppy. It didn't look too bad, but I thought I was going to get knocked out of the kayak a few times. It's a two-seater kayak, maybe it's best to have two people in. But I'm sure I've got my chesty mount, so I'll stick that on the way back. Since I paddled over, just minutes beforehand, this motorboat pulled up, so I don't have the beach to myself. There's a few other people on here. It's a fine yellow sand, but as you get near the edge, a lot of it's coral gravel. So grains of coral, quite a bit of. In fact, the people come here and they gather up the coral and make string things on the beach with the coral. A few of these lying around.
Well, it's well worth a trip out there. If you can hire a little boat to take you. There's no long-tails boats here like there's in Phang Nga. If you're kayaking out, do it so when you get there it's low tide. That's the best for the snorkeling. So then when you return, the tide's pushing you back in to where you've come from.
The farthest island out is Koh Man Nai. It's best to call it as the beach that's on there, Silent Beach. A well-known snorkeling place. And I wouldn't kayak out there unless you were young and fit enough to do it. It's 2.9 kilometres. So if you really want to go out there, try and hire a Thai powerboat from along the beach. And I would say 2.9 kilometres is too far for me, but later on I was to get lost and paddle a lot further than that. You'll hear me refer to this island as KOH CHANG. The English spelling KOH, and I pronounce the H. But in Thai, the sound is like an English celebrity called Gok Wan. His first name, Christian name, Gok. You move the K and you've got Gok. And Gok in Thai is island. Koh Man Nai is the closest island, some 700 metres away. And you clearly see the seabed. It's only around 1.5 to 2 metres deep. There's a fine sand bottom or rocks and marine vegetation. And as you approach the island, you see a nice sandy stretch covered with purple morning glory. But this is only part of sand on the beach, the rest is rocks. But there's plenty of trees. And from there you can clearly see the other 3 islands, and they look very inviting. But of course none of these islands are inhabited, so make sure you do have your provisions.
On the return we stopped at Porn's place and had food there and wait for the sunset. And that's when I really started to notice the pains in my stomach. And I was drinking fizzy pop.
So this is mud saman, yellow curry, potato and rice. I've had that before, I'm going to try it. I've been told it's like a sweet curry with peanuts in. This is your pad thai, noodles and chicken. Then coconut and banana smoothie, and a mango smoothie. And look on the sunset, which will pop up on that dip. Depends how the clouds perform, how nice it's going to look.
and it's got the best location. Bit of a peninsula, a lot of fruit trees around where the cabins are, and it's got a good breeze comes in from two sides. So if you're thinking of coming up here backpacking, very inexpensive, 600 baht, and you're right on the beach. There's also made themselves some very nice wood staging and gives them the best viewpoint from anywhere along the beach.
Kai Bae Beach. Fine sand. Tide's just going in. Full sun. Shade. And that's the tide just going out. The island's over the top, which you can kayak out to. And on past years I've been to that one on the left, and it's a lovely sandy beach. Uninhabited.
Standing in the sea on Kai Bae Beach. It really looks like the beach meeting the jungle. With a closer look, we'll see resort building after resort building, going back a couple hundred yards to the main coast road.
Just a cool green BMW. This was getting built 5-6 years ago last time we were here. It's all completed now. Yeah, there's a beach shot. Kai Bae Beach Resort. They have an infinity pool. So the one on the end, Horn Bungalows, it doesn't have an infinity pool, but well, it does because it has all that. I think the best view of the islands, and this the calmest part in the bay.
That's our first day in Kai Bae. Already covered the night time in the Durian episode. I'll have to spend the next few days stuck in the resort room. I did come out to catch another sunrise. A young Thai family been busy during COVID. And the farms are usually trees on the sides of the hills. And he levelled down a durian plantation, taking up the roots as well, all by himself, and with only a cement mixer, laid a road up there. Very steep, you can get up with a motorbike, probably a bit scary with a car.
Tea room here called the Mount, and I had a Thai guy asked him, and he got his motorbike out and showed us how to get here, because that's a decent road there, but further down it's rocks and boulders to get you down to the beach road, which is well, here, that's where the beach road is. But the Thais reckon it's the best viewpoint, and it is. It all depends where it's been a clear blue sky today, but it's dropped back into clouds at the far end. So it's just catching the conditions right to get a good sunset up here.
Although I found the temperature quite nice at 32 centigrade in the spring, he said it's normally 27, but the last few years it's been too hot for the durian and the fruits were getting smaller and there wasn't as much demand for them either. I need to ask a few Thais on the way. It's off the coast road and you go back one road and basically just look for a hill that's baldy. At that time it wasn't on Google Maps. I was one of the first to leave a review and some photos. Because he put the road in himself, it would take 2 years of foot traffic, Google following people's phones up there before they put the road on the map. I found a few artists up there with the easels out, doing some nice oil paintings. And if you're at a cafe, do buy a drink, because getting up there was free. Also ask them to show you the photos of the stargazers, and even with your mobile phone you can catch some nice images of the night sky. After sunset, it's time to choose a nap or go for eats. We went to the El Barrio, a Mexican restaurant. Although it was an attempt, we got to the threshold and had to turn back because of the tear gas-like atmosphere. The spices hit the back of our throats and tears come to our eyes. We did an about turn and went across the road to the Fin Bar, and we ate there. And most of the customers were to the rear of the building as the fumes were crossing the street. I mean, it's spicy, but then it's just being stupid.
This is a Fin Bar and lasagna. This is what they're calling Kai Bae Walking Street. Well, you won't get to show much of the music, but go up and see what it looks like. Sounds of full tables and music.
I wanna take a walk, I wanna take a walk, I wanna take a walk along Oceanstrasse.
The northern end of the urban road, you have Walking Street, a distant cousin to Walking Street in Pattaya. And this is high season. There's only 10 of the go-go bars open, about 20 closed and up for let. There's islands around this part of Thailand, down in Chet province, and many visited by couples, and are single men and women here, and groups of them that go backpacking. As you can see by the amount of people in the bars, there's not enough to keep these going, and I don't suppose you'll ever see 30 bars open, even before COVID. I did a walkthrough and then settled on the party bar with the balloons. It took me 2 minutes, but I can't really show you the full run because there's a lot of licensed music. I will leave the argument in.
There's a late night argument there. And that's it, you walk up in probably 2 minutes. And about half of them easily are closed. But there's not that many punters in the ones that are open.
The one thing to see in Thailand is the bars will always put a party on for you. If you're a regular, I mean only for like 3 or 4 or 5 days or a week, you can organise your party there. This bar had a karaoke theme on, as well as the national flags, which you can see by the balloons, blue and yellow. You do get your bark buses run up and down the urban road. You know, it's 50 baht here, not 20.
Yeah, it's quite dark. This is the lighthouse, and I think the building has changed. I don't see it much. That's a big apex tower on there.
At the entrance to Walking Street, you see the lighthouse. That used to be Captain Morgan's bar about 10 years ago. I even thought about buying it. It's very quirky and a nice layout with plenty of entertainment. For every low season, they go bust and it comes back under a different name. And at this moment, high season February, it's closed. So the street's a couple hundred metres long, and there's a side street, there's a few bars down there. And that's it. That would be classed as really busy for the islands down here. Although most of the resorts in Kai Bae have entertainment on, live music and fire shows. And there'll be plenty of small bars, which are Thai-owned, have been here for a long time. Foreign-owned bars don't tend to last long.
More than half closed down.
The name Lonely Beach comes from the fact that there's not many people on the beach, and at this moment there's only 3 resorts here. And you can see by the aerial image the swimming pool now lies empty and abandoned, as well as a resort. For nightlife, head south around 800 metres along the coast road. Come to a Bar Street area, a block of bars. Most popular Ting Tong Bar. The Ting Tong Bar, that's been there for around 10 years easily. And there's a dozen other bars and eateries around that.
We're just entering Lonely Beach from where we parked the bike up on there. It's a narrow road down there, so you couldn't get a car down. Now it's been a nice place at one time, but it's closed for a few years now.
We'll be walking between a couple of resorts. One of them hasn't survived COVID. There was no help here for the businesses during the 2 or 3 years, and there was no tourists.
You got restaurants and things along that end for the rocky pebble coastline.
South of Kai Bae, you'll come to Lonely Beach, around 2.5 kilometres by kayak, but you can take the coast road to get there. The beach is less than 1 kilometre long and around 10 metres at its widest point at low tide, although the sea is quite shallow.
This is Lonely Beach, it's about 4 p.m. 250 metres of sand. The tide is going down, so not much of the beach. Looks like there'll be 3 resorts on here, the front covered. And you can buy a drink and you can have a free seat and a free table at any of the resorts. We just bought a couple of bottles of water. And massage places all the way along the front.
You can even walk through the resorts, though don't sit down in there unless you're going to buy food or drink. But there's nothing to stop you from going onto the beach. But again, you want to be on the beach at low tide, because at high tide there's not much of the beach left.
Your views out to sea, I recognise the 3 islands over there. You see them off Kai Bae Beach. And that near one, kayak too.
Klong Prao Beach lies north of Kai Bae Beach, and it's around 5 kilometres. A bit far to kayak, and probably best off for the bike to follow the coast road along there, and what used to be a very secretive and very good quality beach. But its secret's out, with self-contained apartments and infinity pools popping up along the front. For YouTube and the vloggers, you have to get the travel magazines and have a read of them. You can read them on the internet as well, and people give you directions on how to find it. The main direction was a bike and book hire shop, my wife's favourite shop in Thailand. You can go in and exchange your books for a fresh book, and it's quite a flat area if you want to hire bicycles. They even have road racing bikes for the people that come over and pedal like mad things around the roads. I suppose that's part of the winter training when they go back to Europe. From that bookshop you'll cross the road and there'll be a restaurant there, fish restaurant. And around 10 years ago it was open-ended. Very nice to eat there when the sun was out, but it became infested with mosquitoes during the high season, which is when it's not raining as much. But the river that's there becomes a swamp and it's plagued with them. Of course that restaurant now is fully boxed in and air conditioned, and it's now very popular, as well as a few resorts which have appeared between there and the coast.
So really this morning with the Khlog Phlu Waterfall, which is up in the mountains up there. And this is Klong Prao Beach. And the same water comes from the waterfall, flows down, across the road in a few places, and ends up just behind these new builds here to a stagnant swamp full of mosquitoes, because there's not enough water to flush out into the sea. And the landmark used to be a bicycle and boot rental shop just out on the main road, about 100 metres this way, but that's never survived the COVID. There's a load of empty shops there at the moment. This used to be the restaurant, but now we've got these new builds, maybe 20 units for a resort. So they're here, backed onto the swamp, and just in front of there you see a new build. That's a 2-storey building here, which is the new fresh fish restaurant, and it's enclosed, air-conditioned affair, so it's quite nice, quite supermarket, and no fear getting bit at night time. So it used to be like a secretive beach for to come. You've always had these 2 resorts over here, Chet, which I've stayed at, was really nice, and there, and next one down was Coconut Beach.
Nice footbridge gets you across to the other beach, which is Coconut Beach. Well worth a walk along. There was 2 resorts on here, a nice high end, but of course you can have breakfast there and you can sit out on the water amongst the trim mangrove bushes, grow some food to the thousands of baby fish that are swimming around you. Those 2 resorts there have almost a little village on the properties.
kayaking in there because there's like seawater lagoons in there to play about in. And where the white boat is there, then that's the end of the resorts there, and the beach becomes pretty public. And it's coming off high tide, so it's reclaiming the beach. Pretty much white sand. There's a bit of coral gravel when you get to the bottom, and it runs all the way along unless it gets developed. There's a nice secluded beach. This used to be a forest. Once a time we drove our bikes into here and just parked up and come through the trees. But now it's going to be a palm oil plantation, which is better than having hotels and things like that on there. So it's still going to be quite green. Now again, it's a sunset beach, so the sun comes from behind you, and these trees are excellent for just shading the beach. You don't need chairs or anything like that. You can just come along, find some shade under a tree and go in the sea. Again, it's very shallow, you can go quite a long way out, and it's a good beach. You'll have to walk back up this way, up the boardwalk, if you want a drink or some food, so then bring your own food and drink with you. But a couple of hours down here, you can rest, relax, swim, cool off, which is what we had to do. I've been on the bike. It was a bit sweaty this morning, and it's midday now, 12. It's the hottest part of the day, but we're on the shade here. Got a breeze and a dip in the sea.
Probably the same advice for all the beaches is have a beach towel and lay that down. On this beach you'll notice lots of little holes, and that's the porcelain crabs. They're a bit like a unicorn. They have a spike in the front and at the back, and they walk sideways, and if you're over a hole they'll come up and stick you with one of these thorns. They won't draw blood, but you know they're there.
I sure got some sunset photos from here with a group of islands there. Let's see if bits of hard coral get washed up.
That's Klong Prao Beach done. But earlier in the day we're at the Khlog Phlu Waterfall, which is upstream from the Klong Beach, and you can follow the Klong River upstream and hike it 5 kilometers or take the bike. Just 5 kilometers south from here, they have the Kai Bae Waterfall. So if you don't want to miss this, add a like and please subscribe. But this one is the bigger and the better one of the two. And actually, the better one on the other side of the island, the east side, the Mahon Waterfall, is fed from the same mountain range. So in the next vlog we'll be doing a bit of Mother Nature. There's blue skies and it's a dry season and there's not much water in the river, but it is still flowing and you can still have a swim. And there will be plenty of fish to look at. From this tour of KOH CHANG, we still have a few videos to show. But due to illness I did not get over to the islands. But like jumping, I did do a 2.0 version and came back and covered those islands. The title I'm working on is the Golden Triangle. Not the one by a Myanmar border, but for the golden years in your life. Especially if you're a pensioner and you want to come over here to get away from the cold and the rain. And as a pensioner, if you can afford to live in the UK, you can live here. So due to the recent rule changes in Thailand, we could remove a winter break, get over here for a few months. And the triangle refer to the 3 islands, which are easy to get to, especially by fast ferry. And there's around about 20 to 30 minute commute between the islands. And a lot cooler here than Phuket and Bangkok. It's averaging around 30 centigrade during the day. So the current rules in Thailand with permanent residency, if you're retiring here, you need about £1 million in around 3 or 4 banks, a Thai translator and a Thai accountant. But that might all change, because they do change and flip-flop a lot. especially if it's an army takeover ideal. And of course the other part of the Golden Triangle is the three countries. Easy access again by ferry to Cambodia and Vietnam. But of course Cambodia is a bit up in the air at the moment, and you can look over from the east coast and see Cambodia.
Generals gathered in their masses, just like witches at black masses.
And of course you will want to use those three islands if you're staying more than the visa stay. You just hop over, spend a week or two there, or even just a couple of nights. So if you're here on a long winter break, you just need the fast ferries to nip over to Cambodia or Vietnam and get your passport stamped, and it covers you for your visa. But check the rules on the Thai website. Could be looking 30, 45, 60 days, and then you would have to leave the country and come back in.